We have had enough. I mean, enough. They call it the price of freedom, but it's just the freedom to kill. And if guns don't kill their families, they probably always will. Now how did the price of...
Welcome, everybody. So great to be with you this evening. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. That's why Faith in Action exists. Well, the first thing we want you to do is to turn your interpretation to the language of your choice. So that little globe at the bottom of your screen, like right in the middle, click on that and choose English or Spanish so you could be fully with us all the time. My good friend and sister, Alba, is going to give you those same instructions in Spanish. Earlier this week, the wonderful kids at the Community School for Creative Arts, for Creative Education, one of our partner schools in Oakland, sent us this beautiful, wonderful postcard. It's a video to welcome us into this space, and it's filled with joy and song. Let's share that together.
This is our school. Let peace dwell here. Let the room be filled with contentment. Let love abide here. Love one another, love to be kind, love of the earth, and love of myself. If you're happy at our school, clap your hands. If you're happy at our school, clap your hands. If you're happy at our school, wave your boots, school is cool. If you're happy back at school, clap your hands. If you're ready to learn, two thumbs up. If you're ready to learn, two thumbs up. If you're ready to learn, if you're ready to learn, two thumbs up.
Absolutely. Clap your hands and turn around and give you thumbs. We're ready to learn. We're ready, happy to be here. We want to have our welcome from Pastor Jim Hopkins, our friend and the co-chair of Faith in Action East Bay.
Good evening, everyone. Pastor Jim Hopkins, Lakeshore Avenue Baptist Church, co-chair, along with Pastor Michael Wallace, co-chair of the Faith in Action Board. Welcome to you all this evening. Rise up for justice. I don't know if you can see the tie I'm wearing. It's a Golden State Warriors tie. And there's a reason for that. One, like most of you, I'm a fan of the Golden State Warriors. But I think there's an important comparison to be made. The Golden State Warriors are to basketball, to the NBA, what Faith in Action East Bay is to the world of faith-based community organizing. They're the best, and I like to think that we're the best. We bring the values of faith. We bring the values of wisdom. We bring the values of strategy to our organizing. Be it ceasefire, working against illegal dumping, standing for immigration justice. That's an incomplete list. But when Faith in Action East Bay is involved in something like the Warriors, we do it well. Now, in the world I live in, I'm surrounded, maybe you are too, by folks who whine, moan, and complain. They can list the problems of the world well. Somebody ought to do something. Faith in Action East Bay, we do more than whine, moan, and complain. Yeah, we identify the problems, but then we identify solutions. And using wisdom, and using collective power, and using powerful action, we address them. So tonight, let's rise up together. Let's rise up for justice together. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Jim. So at Faith in Action East Bay, we believe that everyone belongs and everyone should have dignity and respect and equity in our communities. This evening, we're going to go on a journey of discovery. You're going to learn about the many ways that people of Faith in Action East Bay achieve systemic change. You'll meet some of our amazing people and hear stories of their action and their wonderful work that they're doing. And I want to begin by introducing a powerful message from one of our dynamic organizers, Peyton Silkett. Peyton is our local celebrity, and you'll see because he's presented a TED Talk. And this TED Talk is entitled, How Hugs Can Heal Our Broken World. His presentation gets to the heart and the soul of what we strive for here at Faith in Action East Bay.
First, I'm gonna begin with a confession. I am a hugger. Is anybody else in here a hugger? Raise your hand. All right, cool. All right. I am a hugger. Hugger, yes. I love giving hugs. I love receiving hugs. Every kind of hug that you can think of, including that awkward side hug. Yeah. I love it. I believe hugs are a way of showing kindness and goodwill, a way of saying hello in a greeting, or I've missed you during a reuniting. But hugs can also have a deep emotional toll. A last touch before a goodbye, or a comforting embrace after a moment of tragedy from a dear friend. And that last hug is the thing that breaks us down. But simultaneously, it gives us the strength that we needed and the courage that we did not know we had to move forward and push through this moment of pain, of uncertainty. Hugs are everything to me. And while hugging may not be for everyone, I believe that within them lies the key to the reconciliation of our broken relationships and the restoration of peace where trauma has been present. I first became exposed to the power of reconciliation when I went down to the South to research the civil rights movement. And while I was there, I was met with so many stories that impacted me, but there was one in particular that moved me, and that is the story of Elizabeth and Hazel. Elizabeth Eckford is one of the Little Rock Nine, the first to integrate Central High School in Arkansas during the peak of Jim Crow segregation. And on her first day, as she was walking to school, she was confronted by a mob, and in the ensuing chaos, this photo was taken. Hazel Bryan was in this crowd and can be seen above Elizabeth's shoulder with her mouth open, yelling. Now, years later, Hazel called Elizabeth to apologize for the role that she played in this moment that had defined so much of their characters for decades. And this photo was taken. How does this develop into that? How does hatred evolve into friendship and understanding? I didn't know how it could be possible, but I knew that at a time when police shootings were on the rise and protests were erupting all around our nation, when political tensions were mounting and our own families were being torn apart by the rhetoric, when civil wars were breaking out in nations around our world, what we were living through, what we are witnessing is an epidemic of our communities unable to live with one another. And while I did not know how this could be possible, how reconciliation could work, I knew that we were in desperate need of it right now. And so I began to research and search for answers. What I found was the evidence was all around me. It was a hug in a Dallas courtroom that went viral when a man hugged the woman who was convicted of murdering his brother. It was a hug in Oregon by a football coach that disarmed a school shooter and averted another tragedy with countless potential victims. It was a hug in Arizona by a police officer that brought a man off of the ledge he was prepared to leap from to take his own life in the midst of his most sorrowful moment. Hugs have power, which means we have power. And so today, I want to invite your imagination to re-examine what is possible in areas of our lives where tension is present, and show you how within the process of the hug, you will be able to find all the tools you need, all the power to reconcile our broken relationships. So, what's in the anatomy of a hug that makes it the key to the reconciliation process? Let's begin with the initial greeting. This is where trust is established. Without trust, there can be no reconciliation. And that's why so many reconciliations end before they ever begin. Because how can I trust you after what you've done to me? This is a very difficult hurdle to overcome. But I believe the key to overcoming this hurdle is by finding the element of value that can only happen with relationship or dialogue with this person. Whether that's closure, whether that's peace in a household or a region, whether that's more insight or understanding into a situation whose lasting unclarity has caused so much uncertainty in us. It could even be the admission of guilt and a long overdue apology that has been welling up inside of us. Whatever that element of value is, once it is found, we flow into the most vulnerable portion of the process. The open arms. This is the point of no return. Up until this moment, you could have extended your hand and kept that person at bay and prevented the hug from ever happening. So everybody that didn't raise their hand, you're probably real familiar with this, right? It's that awkward hand hug thing. You're staying there. But this is the point of no return because you could have kept them at bay, but instead, you are now choosing to move from this physically defensive position into a completely helpless one. It's a scary step, but without it, without two people being willing to open up their arms and say, I trust you, and am willing to be hurt by you, in order to make this work, there can be no embrace. And this is the moment the entire progression has been building towards, where wrapped in each other's arms, our hearts are physically the closest they can be, where we are now in dialogue and communicating with one another. Every element of hurt, every sensation of pain, of guilt, betrayal, deception, joy, euphoria, all of these things come flowing out in this moment. And after this grand embrace and the communication of our feelings, and the discharge of anguish, we flow into the area that is so delicate, the release. This position is delicate because if done improperly, someone can leave more wounded than the start. And so it is here where clarity and communication is key in setting goals for the relationship moving forward. Will we text each other or won't we? Will I see you at Christmas? Whatever this relationship looks like moving forward, we must be clear on it. I cannot emphasize enough that this is a process and that years of hurt may not be forgiven after just one hug. But if you are willing to establish trust and feel empowered enough to speak freely with the other person, if you are open to being vulnerable with that person, then you can have an embrace where we're able to communicate every deep feeling of emotion. And if at the end of that, in our release, we're able to establish goals for the relationship moving forward, then the seeds for reconciliation will have been sown. And where there was hurt, now healing. Where there was pain, now relief. Where there was guilt, now freedom. And where there was hatred, now friendship. Dr. Fred Luskin, a Stanford University researcher and professor, and founder of the Stanford Project for Forgiveness, says this: when we choose forgiveness, we release our past to heal our present. Ask yourselves, what part of our past do we need to release? And who do I need to hug? Thank you.
Wow. Are you clapping your hands too? Peyton is one of our stars. Now you know our secret. Peyton joined Faith in Action East Bay as a summer staff intern in 2019. After that summer, he returned to Pepperdine University, where he completed his bachelor's degrees, got other degrees, many, many awards. And among those awards, he earned a certificate in conflict and dispute resolution. In August of 2021, Peyton became a full-time organizer at our staff, and we are so excited. And I want to present to you in this moment our own superstar, Peyton Silkett.
Good evening. As you saw earlier, my name is Minister Peyton Silkett, and I'm a community organizer with Faith in Action East Bay. And as you heard in the video, I believe the power of a hug to be transformational. And here's something else that I believe: that Faith in Action East Bay is a hug for the community. But the power of a hug lies not in how it makes you feel, whether all warm and fuzzy or greatly uncomfortable at the thought of your personal space being intruded upon. But the power of a hug is a revolutionary act. It's a form of protest, a profound statement of love and defiance in the face of a world that tells us to divide ourselves. Or even worse yet, only to embrace the ones who are like you, who think like you, who vote like you, who live like you. In this time, the polarizing rhetoric within our nation and the devastatingly volatile status of our world's international relations can be enough to make anyone hesitate to believe that progress is possible. And indeed, it is human to feel powerless in the face of such debilitating challenges. But I do believe that the brighter stars will always show up in the darkest night, and that those who choose the audacity to hope will be the ones to lead our communities through this perilous time. In this time, bridging and belonging and boldness to believe that the beloved community is not only a vision worth fighting for, but a reality that must come to fruition if we are to exist as a people. That idea is more important than ever. So if you believe like me, and even if you have your skepticism, I embrace you. This evening you are going to meet so many wonderful freedom fighters that are a part of this organization, that have chosen to put their faith into action. And I implore you all, even if just for this evening, to embrace them as well. Open your hearts and be willing to be vulnerable. As you hear the different testimonies, feel free to embrace and let this experience overtake you. I invite you into this not just as an observer, but to recognize that a hug takes 2 active participants, at least. But tonight we're going to do something special. This is going to be a group hug. And I want us all to take part in what's going to be our first ever Faith in Action East Bay Rise Up for Justice Zoom hug. So go ahead and raise up your left hand and raise up your right. And go ahead and embrace yourself and feel that. But remember that a hug is not just about how it makes you feel. That let all of the arms of our work of organization that you're going to see tonight wrap around you. All of the work from our different tables and different leaders and different donors and different participants. Allow that experience to overtake you and find yourself here in this moment. Thank you.
Wonderful. I couldn't unembrace myself by just that hug was really good. Amen. Just so wonderful. You know, another of the ways that Faith in Action East Bay, our work is a hug to the community, is through what we call our belong circles. Through our belong circles, we bring people together, people who start out as strangers, as that other person, as the person I don't know anything about, but I have all these opinions, to becoming my friend, becoming part of my community and my family. And this model, the belong circles, intentionally bridges across race, class, immigration status, as well as law enforcement and community members. The circles focus on relationship building and allowing individuals to meet and become neighbors. When a belong circle is first formed, members explore a 5-session curriculum that is focused on relationship building, storytelling, naming, repairing harms, and taking individual and collective prophetic action to make change. At this time, it's my honor to introduce Leah Murray, who will share with us her Belong Circle story and the considerable impact that the Belong Circle is having in her life and community. Leah?
Good evening. My name is Leah Murray. I'm the executive director, or rather co-director, along with my husband, of Collaborizing. And I'm here to talk to you today about the Belong Circle. I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to participate. And what I think most about the Belong Circle is, I'm thinking about right now, timing. About this time last year, I met a woman named Florence Davis, and she introduced me to the concept of belonging and meeting with multiple people from different backgrounds, whether it's race or gender or socioeconomic status, and I got connected. So what I'm really thinking about, though, is meeting Peyton. We met at a Belonging Institute gathering at UC Berkeley in November. And when I met Peyton, I had already spoke to him over the phone, and he told me about the Belong Circle, and he assigned me to a Belong Circle. But we actually met in person at that event. And so little did I know that a year later, my circle, my Belong Circle, would be so instrumental in something that we've been doing to support unhoused folks. I think our group started maybe in November, and in December we decided to support one family at the Ryden Road encampment where my husband and I were doing work. And so all of my Belong Circle got together, and we raised about, I think it was about $600 to give to this one family for Christmas. Also in December, we found out that the Ryden Road encampment was about to close. And so my husband and I did some research. We went down to the encampment, we talked to the folks, and discovered that they weren't receiving the services that they were promised. I gathered my Belong Circle and I asked for their support, and Peyton had encouraged me. I was thinking, how do I do this? I've never advocated before. I've never spoken at city council. I've never talked to the mayor. I've never done any of those things. And Peyton advised me, he said, lean into your Belong Circle. You all met for a reason, and perhaps they will help you. Next thing I know, we had the Ride and Road LOC, and boy, did they certainly help. We stayed up till about midnight on City Council, and I think about 6 or 7 members of the LOC, along with other community members, participated, and we advocated for the residents there that they would not close the encampment. And so on that day, we were victorious, and that was the beginning of the advocacy work that I've been doing up until now. So I'm so grateful for timing, and for such a time as this. My Belong Circle rallied around my small organization as well as the 28 residents of Ride and Road, and we were able to accomplish something phenomenal. Well, the Ride and Road encampment officially closed on September 30th of this year, and because of our advocacy and the training that we received from Faith in Action of the East Bay, we were able to get the residents money to leave the encampment with more dignity. Now, the money we got wasn't a lot of money, but it was certainly better than leaving with nothing. And that could not have happened without the support of the Belong Circle, which evolved into its own LOC. And I can't thank Faith in Action of the East Bay enough. So whatever Faith in Action of the East Bay needs from me and from collaborating, we are totally on board because you taught me so much. And now I'm able to use a skill that I didn't know I had, and I will use it in even greater places. So it has been a pleasure working with Faith in Action of the East Bay. It has been a pleasure learning from Faith in Action of the East Bay. It's been a pleasure meeting all the beautiful people that we've met that made a difference in our lives. And so I am eternally grateful, and I hope you support Faith in Action of the East Bay as I do. Thank you.
Wow. In my church tradition, we say after a testimony and experience like that, we say, wow. Leah, thank you so much. Leah is a rock star also, as you can see with her group collaborating. She's a wonderful partner with us. Thank you, Leah, for your commitment, and thank you for inspiring us. Now, before I introduce our next segment, if you would like to support our work, maybe you've seen enough, maybe you want to be a part of that, you'll find a link to our donation page in the chat box. Your support will help us bridge across many divides. We cannot do this alone. We cannot do this without you. And we cannot do this without, frankly, just funds and support. So you can make your donation right now. You know we're going to ask. So just click on the link in the chat box and please make your donation. Now I want to move to another part of Faith in Action East Bay, a part where we believe we express that everyone belongs and everyone deserves to live with dignity and respect and environments that are clean and safe. And yet in parts of Oakland, particularly the flatlands, families are in a health and safety crisis. People drive in from wherever and they illegally dump in our flatlands in parts of Oakland and sections where the people we love and care about live. And in these communities in the flatlands, there's abandoned vehicles, there's medical waste, there's deceased and decaying animals, there's furniture and appliances piled up in massive quantities all over our neighborhoods. And our children have to step over piles of trash on their way to schools. Now, these conditions would never be tolerated in the foothills or in the hills of Oakland. But the city of Oakland was non-responsive to the pleas of the community for years. But then a group of Faith in Action East Bay leaders took up the charge, formed themselves together, and started moving and making things happen. Please give your attention to this video, and it'll give you some details of how our illegal dumping table fought hard and one for our neighborhoods. Now, this section is going to be in Spanish, so make sure your interpretation globe is on the language you prefer. Let's watch.
So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Cherie Woods, a community leader in Faith in Action East Bay.
Los líderes de Faith in Action East Bay desempeñan un papel fundamental a la hora de abordar el problema de la basura ilegal en Oakland. En colaboración con organizaciones aliadas, conseguimos $1.4 millones para limpiar las calles de Oakland y combatir la basura ilegal. Seguimos trabajando con esta coalición para garantizar que esta financiación se traslade al presupuesto de la ciudad cada año. Los líderes trabajan estrechamente con el Departamento de Obras Públicas de Oakland y han conseguido $5 millones adicionales para seguir asegurando que los barrios de Oakland sean seguros y limpios. En el 2020, la ciudad de Oakland lanzó una campaña titulada Oaktown Proud, que ayuda a combatir la basura ilegal. Fue desarrollada en colaboración con nosotros y otros grupos y organizaciones comunitarias. Los líderes de Faith in Action East Bay han estado al frente de esta lucha. En febrero de este año, la ciudad de Oakland anunció un importante paso adelante en la labor de responsabilizar a los infractores de la basura ilegal. Al principio de este año se instalaron 10 cámaras de vigilancia en lugares estratégicos donde se produce basura ilegal con mayor frecuencia y gravedad. Las 10 cámaras permiten al personal de obras públicas de Oakland revisar las grabaciones de video de alta calidad capaces de respaldar los casos contra los vertedores que son captados por las cámaras. El proyecto piloto se anunció en un acto de prensa en la esquina de la avenida 21 y Solano Way en Oakland, un lugar que es conflictivo que está detrás de la Escuela Comunitaria de Educación Creativa, uno de nuestros socios comunitarios. Las cámaras son uno de los resultados de una colaboración de 5 años con Faith in Action East Bay y Oakland Public Works y Waste Management. Sin embargo, a pesar del trabajo de organización en curso, los líderes están frustrados por el hecho de que el problema de la basura ilegal está empeorando. Ahora hay un aumento de vehículos abandonados, basura y campamentos fuera de las casas de las familias, escuelas, congregaciones y las bibliotecas públicas. El lunes 19 de septiembre, 250 ciudadanos preocupados se reunieron con funcionarios de la ciudad en una acción de Faith in Action East Bay en Zoom. Pidieron que se declarara el estado de emergencia y que se adoptara una estrategia inmediata para hacerle frente a la basura y los vehículos abandonados en Oakland. Los líderes de la comunidad de Faith in Action East Bay compartieron cómo es que las familias del área de Oakland están en una crisis de salud y seguridad, y que la basura ilegal y los vehículos abandonados han puesto en peligro a las familias y comunidades de Oakland. Este trabajo está muy presente en el momento actual. En respuesta a la continua inacción de la ciudad de Oakland con respecto a la crisis de salud y seguridad en las calles de Oakland, nuestros líderes comunitarios tendrán una conferencia de prensa mañana viernes a las 11 de la mañana. Emitirán un ultimátum de 72 horas para que la zona de la avenida 45 y la calle Bond y sus alrededores se limpie y se mantenga limpia permanentemente. Los líderes también propondrán a los funcionarios de la ciudad de Oakland que la supervisión que se establezca en la avenida 45 y la calle Bond se convierta en un programa piloto, utilizando como modelo para que los trabajadores de la ciudad lo utilicen y lo reproduzcan en toda la ciudad que sigue sufriendo. Los invitamos a todos a asistir y que estén presentes en solidaridad con nosotros. Pedimos a Dios que nos siga guiando para mantener las calles de Oakland limpias y seguras. Sabemos en nuestros corazones el potencial de Oakland para que sea un lugar hermoso para todos en nuestra comunidad. No dejemos de luchar hasta que nos aseguremos de que cada barrio, cada calle y cada esquina de la ciudad de Oakland sea un lugar nutrido para todas nuestras familias. Gracias.
That was awesome. We do so much. Can't believe how much we do. So much, so great. But there's more. You know, at Faith in Action East Bay, you know who else we have? You know who else belongs? Our youth organizers. Last year, a couple of our organizers wanted to start a youth cohort, a group to teach young adults the importance of organizing, how to organize, and how to channel their youthful energy and idealism into real social justice actions, into real change. This group is called Youth ROCs. ROC stands for Regional Organizing Committees. So here now are some representatives from our youth ROCs who will share about their work. This is our future. Let's give a listen.
Hello, my name is Tania Jimenez Gomez, and I am a part of the Faith in Action East Bay Youth Rock. At first, my mom pushed me to join because she thought it would be important to be involved with the community. I was hesitant at first because I was really shy, and I still am. But after I spoke with my organizer, Alba, I started to get more comfortable and involved. I became more involved because I learned that Faith in Action East Bay works on 4 issues that worry me a lot. I'm really concerned about gun violence, illegal dumping, housing, and immigration. I have participated in meetings all around these issues where we demand that the government and city officials listen to all the problems that our people are suffering with and push for them to give the importance for the safety in our communities. Gun violence impacted me personally because when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my friend from school was shot. I didn't see her for some time, and when she finally came back to school, she was in a wheelchair. I feel that this was unfair because she was an innocent bystander. Ever since then, I have been afraid that the same thing could happen to my other friends and family. This is why I'm here, to be part of the change. And I have been a part of ceasefire walks, and in my first experience, I was very happy and excited. As I walked around with people shouting and asking for them to stop the violence and the use of guns in our streets, it made me proud that there was people who cared as much as I do. It was also great and exciting, amazing seeing people honk their horns as they were driving by because it showed that they want peace as well. I'm committed to continue to participate because it is a priority for me to change all the injustice that is happening to our people of color. I will continue to be part of the fight and hope for more youth to join. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leanne Gunu, and I'm a youth leader with Faith in Action East Bay. Being part of Faith in Action East Bay's youth group means I am able to work with other youth to tackle problems that affect our communities. I enjoy being a part of this organization because I feel that we are actively working to make a difference in our community. Gun violence and illegal dumping are 2 of the biggest problems I hope to tackle within Faith in Action East Bay. So when Ms. Alba informed me of the work they had already been doing for both, I knew I wanted to join. When I look at the news, I'm flooded with images of homicides and mass shooting. Instead of being able to go outside and enjoy fresh air, I'm hit with the stench of trash littered across my neighborhood. Back in March, we had a youth march against gun violence at St. Patrick's Church. There was widespread community support, and we were joined by other youth organizations and city council members. For me, this march was one of the first glimpses of how Faith in Action East Bay brings together a community for a cause. I was able to bring my friend along, meet new people, and hear about what they wanted for Oakland's future. Through this group, we are able to connect from around the Bay Area, and you can meet others who share your goals and come up with new ones as a team. As leaders, we are able to strategize and learn how to harness the power to make demands from city and government officials for what is just for our communities. I've witnessed firsthand the power of the collective Faith in Action East Bay fosters within communities, and how we've helped give people the tools they need to enact change in their surroundings. I'd like to extend the invitation to any of you who are connected and know youth that be interested to connect them to our Youth Regional Organizing Committee. Any of the organizers would be more than happy to connect you with our community organizer. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne and Tanya. Fantastic. That is our future. Aren't we excited about it? There's another area that Faith in Action East Bay is intimately aware of, involved in, and making a difference. Do you know that in the United States, right here, before November is over, there's been over 600 mass shootings? Do you know that there's over 40,000 gun deaths in America? Well, Oakland was an epicenter as a city for gun violence and for just the loss of lives. And Faith in Action East Bay, then called OCO, was one of the pioneers. I'd say a pioneer in the East, in the West, on the West Coast. And they brought Ceasefire. Ceasefire is a program that reduces recidivism, ends gun violence, and saves the lives of our young people and provides them alternatives to the lives that lead to gun violence and young people carrying guns in our city. We've done miraculous things, and we are still tamping down the violence in our community. Even though we haven't got it to zero, we're still working on it. One of the parts of our ceasefire program, and I won't take the time to explain it all, and just ask one of your organizers later and they'll tell you more about it. But one particular part is our ceasefire night walks. Now, our night walks, most of the strategy is focused on law enforcement, social services, and particular individuals who are most likely to be involved in gun violence. And that's a very small and tight group. But everybody can do something. And what we all can do is participate in night walks. And what we do on Friday nights, the night when most of this violence happens, is many community members just come together and we walk the streets. It's a way to walk the places where most of the violence and gunshot is occurring. And we walk to say, this is our neighborhood and we want it to be safe. And we care about you and your neighborhood. Watch this little, this tiny documentary on our night walks. You'll love it.
As we go, Lord, for your cause, we ask that you would go with us. We thank you for every community member that is here tonight. May our community experience peace, love, faith, and comfort as we walk and bring the light and bring witness of faith that we don't feel alone.
The devil's trying to break me down.
Ceasefire is a program that helps reduce the number of gun-related deaths in the city of Oakland. And it's a program that, in part, for what I'm most involved with, is walking within the community. So every Friday night, from a different church within the city of Oakland, we do walks through the neighborhoods to let the residents know that we care about them. We want the violence to stop. We are there to help them, be a resource for them. If they want to participate, they are welcome to join us on a walk. It's important for all of us to get involved.
We want you to see people who love you and care about our communities.
You know, one of the things that I think sometimes we fail to realize is that all of us are the answer to someone's prayer. That someone in the community is thinking and reflecting on how they're going to be able to see their neighborhood change. And at the same time that they're thinking that and they're praying that, you and I are being encouraged and afforded the opportunity to be that answer. Sometimes people ask me, why should we respond? Why should we come out on a Friday night and engage in a neighborhood that is experiencing so much violence and so much pain? It's because we are the answer. It's because we are a part of the solution. And in our response and in our offering of our time, we're going to be able to let someone know that there still are people who care about their situation.
Pray is that my feet don't fail me.
I know a place
I'll take you there. Oh, mercy. I'll take you there. Oh, let me take you there. I'll take you there. Oh, let me take you there. I'll take you there. Play it, Mary. Play your piano now. All right. Do it. Come on now. Play on it. Me daddy now. Daddy. Yo. Ooh, Lord. All right now, baby, little lady, I need you here. Help me out. Come on, little lady.
And I want to be clear when I say that the ceasefire strategy has been truly effective.
I'll take you there. Ain't nobody crying. I'll take you there. Ain't nobody worrying. I'll take you there. Ain't no sorrow. I'll take you
Again, this strategy is important to the city because it was demanded by the people of the city, and we responded to that cry, and this is what we have now. The Oakland ceasefire strategy has been implemented, and I believe that it will make a great difference in this year in reducing gun violence in our city.
You may not have to go out and march, but I think it's important that you vote, encourage other people to register and vote, and I think it's important that you try to find a way to hold those elected officials accountable because they work for you, the voter. They work for me as a voter. So I think it's important that we don't relinquish that power to elected officials so that we can continue to do the work so that everyone has an opportunity to live in a comfortable environment.
Yeah, my hat is off, and I thank you so much for that moment of silence for our ancestor, but someone we love so much, Terry McWilliams, who was such an integral part of our violence reduction, night walks, ceasefire, ICJJ, Justice Reinvestment Coalition, a saint now. One of the tables our leaders got together is called the Interfaith Coalition for Justice in Our Jails. They began with a review of what was happening in Santa Rita, and they have been working for years trying to get remedies to the injustice and the inhumane treatments that's going on in our jails. Sometimes we put folk in jails and we forget about them, but the ICJJ has taken up the mantle of ensuring that when people are incarcerated, they don't disappear, their humanity is not disrespected, and they, of all things, don't mysteriously die. They've prepared a presentation for us on their work. Let's watch that right now.
The Interfaith Coalition for Justice in Our Jails grew out of the Live Free campaign of Faith in Action East Bay. Live Free created a powerful report, What's Up with Our Jails, holding Alameda County Sheriff accountable, that detailed serious problems in Alameda County's Santa Rita Jail. Formerly incarcerated individuals told us of the challenge of leaving Santa Rita without health insurance and of being unable to get prescriptions filled. In 2019, we began a campaign among 11 congregations to advocate for Medi-Cal reinstatement for those whose insurance is suspended or terminated while they are in jail. Clergy and advocates presented petitions with over 1,000 signatures to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors demanding a remedy. The board agreed. Early in 2020, we formally established the Interfaith Coalition for Justice in Our Jails, ICJJ, to expand our membership and our voice with a mission to advocate for transformative change in the conditions and dehumanizing culture that prevail in Alameda County Jail. Since then, ICJJ has been engaging with county supervisors, justice system staff, mental health professionals, and a wide range of community-based advocates. Our focus has expanded to highlight the more than 60 deaths in the Santa Rita jail since 2014, a third of which were suicides, and for people with mental illness. The overuse of incarceration instead of providing robust, well-integrated, community-based mental health care. In May 2021, we held a powerful and compassionate rally and vigil in front of the Board of Supervisors building that featured over a dozen clergy from diverse faiths. The clergy read the names of every person who has died in the jail since 2014. We work with allies like the Care First Community Coalition and families advocating for the seriously mentally ill to promote alternatives to incarceration with adequate services in the community. It is shameful that Santa Rita Jail has become the largest mental health facility in the county. Jail can never be a place for genuine healing and effective treatment, and we demand that everyone in our county jail be protected from harm and treated in a professional and dignified manner. We invite members of the faith community to join us to hold our new sheriff and other elected county officials accountable to improve conditions, prevent deaths, decrease the numbers of individuals incarcerated, and provide adequate treatment in the community for the seriously mentally ill. Please sign up for our newsletter on our website and let us know if you would like an ICJJ presentation to your community. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
And thank you. And that was wonderful narration from our superstar voice, Teresa Henson. And just want to let you know, we don't work alone. We have a big footprint and big shoes that we fill in our local area, but we are also a part of a statewide network. So we are hard at work with others of our brothers and sisters in the PICO network, and we have our own Joseph McKellar, who's the director of PICO, which is our statewide network and affiliate. But we're all working together to strive to bring justice and equal access. And now I'd like to introduce to you the big boss, Joseph McKellar.
On behalf of your siblings across the entire Pico, California network, happy Rise Up for Justice to our Faith in Action East Bay familia and compañeros y compañeras. It's a blessing for me to celebrate virtually with you this evening. You know, many of you know that 6 months ago, I became a first-time father of a baby boy named Francisco. We call him Paquito. And this kind of magical and mysterious experience of becoming a father has made me feel two emotions deeply, both awe and urgency. Every day I feel a mix of awe and urgency, awe at the miracle of life, at the sacredness and fragility of life, and urgency to make California so full of injustice and exclusion into a more loving, a more safe, a more equitable place for God's creation. Urgency because some days it feels as if we're running out of time. I know all of you feel it too. The East Bay, all of you who live and work in Alameda and Contra Costa counties, you are ground zero in the great struggle here in California over the battles for who matters, who belongs, who deserves a share of the immense wealth produced by the working families of this region. You know, today a family renting a 2-bedroom apartment in Alameda and Contra Costa counties pays nearly $2,300 per month. Now, $2,300 a month requires someone to earn $61.50 an hour to afford that rent. The problem is the average wage for an East Bay worker is between $16 per hour and $25 per hour. That means working 3 to 4 full-time jobs to afford the rent. Now, if you work 4 jobs at 40 hours a week, that leaves you 8 hours a week to sleep. Not 8 hours a day to sleep, but 8 hours a week to sleep. Black and Latino families are 4 times more likely to be rent burdened than our white sisters, brothers, and siblings. Formerly incarcerated and undocumented immigrants face the greatest barriers to find housing, which is why over 60% of our unhoused siblings are formerly incarcerated. I heard a recent story about a woman named Sister Zai. Sister Zai is an African-American Muslim community leader in the Pico, California network. She's a single mother. She works full-time at a Walmart, and she picks up other jobs here and there to help pay the rent. Many of her Walmart coworkers live in their cars, and they pay for a membership at the Planet Fitness so that they can shower. Many of them get ticketed and have their cars towed for violating overnight camping laws. Now, Faith in Action East Bay has a vision for a radically different quality of life for Sister Zai and the families of this region. Faith in Action East Bay's vision is for an economy that includes, that protects, that nurtures, rather than an economy that exploits and extracts. Faith in Action East Bay believes that only by linking arms across difference and across our Pico, California network will we build enough power to overcome the opposition of those who are enriching themselves off of the status quo. The California Apartment Association, the California Realtors Association, sheriff's unions. Faith in Action East Bay is organizing to pass laws that keep families in their homes and safe from evictions, that increase the availability of affordable homes, and that put more money in the pockets of families through things like a guaranteed income. I am in awe of the community leaders of Faith in Action East Bay who not only have a vision for a radically inclusive and equitable Alameda and Contra Costa, but who every day devote their hearts, minds, hands, and feet to building it through the beautiful ministry of community organizing. I want to end with a quote from the great Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, who once said, "People usually consider walking on water or on thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or on thin air, but to walk on earth." Every day we're engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own 2 eyes, all is a miracle. It is a miracle to wake up each day with an opportunity to look into the eyes of our neighbor, to hear their story with our own ears, to invite them to dream with us, and to walk with us towards a future where every person has a roof over their head, a job that treats them with respect, and the confidence that they will always have enough to live with dignity, no matter what life brings them. So thank you for helping make Faith in Action East Bay a place where the miracle of beloved community and the miracle of social transformation become possible as we organize with an urgent, radical kind of love. Thank you, familia. Let's build.
Thank you, Joseph. And that brings us back to the sober realities in which we are living, working, and changing our world. Sometimes I'm so filled by the love and grace of the people we get to work with that I don't communicate how serious the problems are out there. But there's a person who's dedicated their life, their whole entire life, to creating a better world. And that person is our regional executive director, the Reverend Dr. George C.L. Cummings. And It's been an honor, and it is an honor to work with him. And he's a very humble man. He doesn't toot his own horn, but all the problems Joseph just talked about, Dr. Cummings has set his life not just to talk about it, but to organize folk to make systemic change so that people can live, work, and have joy on this earth. And right now, I'd like to introduce you to that icon, our own regional director, the Reverend Dr. George C. L. Cummings.
Good evening and welcome to our Rise Up for Justice annual event. We're excited to be able to share with you the work that we're doing and what we're excited about that we have been doing this last year. It is a wonderful thing to be a part of this organization because this organization is about important work. Our business is building power. We build power by developing leaders who will lead transformation in their communities. We build power by empowering leaders who will be able to name the solutions for their communities. We build power because we are committed to bringing about change for the families and communities we love. As people of faith, we believe in justice. As my mentor and friend, Dr. Cornel West, has often said, the public face of love is justice, making justice in the world. We create justice in the area of housing. We do justice making in the area of criminal justice reforms. We do justice making in a wide variety of areas of our lives. We're grateful for this opportunity to do that. And we're excited that you're a part of this effort. Because we are people of faith, we believe that it is necessary for us to be publicly engaged in addressing the conditions in our society and moving them in the direction of where we want them to be. We have a vision that comes from the values of our faith, a vision of a more equitable society, a society in where racial equity and economic equity is normative. And so that's what we do. We build power in order to bring about those changes because we believe in justice. We are a faith-based organization, and I am excited to have been serving for now 5 years as we have been leading this organization in making this turn into this work. I'm excited about many things about our work. Because we are so committed to the work of social justice and making a difference, we've set goals for 2022. Our goals include expanding our base, building up the number of institutions and communities that we serve, as well as building up a core of team leaders who would be able to lead that work in those settings. I'm grateful to report to you tonight that we have made some very, very progressive changes. We have been making progress in achieving our 2022 goals. During the last year, we've hired a core staff that is able to empower us to do the kind of training that we need. And I'm excited about some of these things. I'm excited about our staff. You might hear from some of them tonight. I'm excited about the work that they have been doing. One of our goals for 2022 was to have, at the end of 2022, 25 institutions where we had operating local organizing committees leading the work. As of this week, we have 23, and there are another 6 in development. So we're making progress. We set as a goal in 2022 to have at the end of the year 25 leaders, team leaders in those LOCs. I'm excited to tell you that we have surpassed our goal. We are now at 33 team leaders, and that is not counting another 26 that went through our leadership training in recent months. So we're making progress. Another goal for this year was to begin to move in the direction of developing a housing justice campaign. And in order to do that, we were going to develop a collaborative relationship with Faith in Action in the Bay, which organizes in San Mateo County and San Francisco County. We organize in Alameda and Contra Costa County. And we believe that we could learn from them. And by developing a collaborative relationship, we would be able to learn better how we might move an agenda in the East Bay. We're so delighted that we've had several events where our staff has come together and been trained together. So our staffs are getting to know each other. Our leadership is getting to know each other. So we're well on our way to developing a closer relationship with Faith in Action in the Bay. That is essential for us to engage in a campaign around housing justice that is a significant issue in all of our counties. And we are deeply grateful to have the opportunity to learn from them because they've been doing housing justice campaigning for a long time. So we're excited about the work. We're excited about our progress. We're extremely excited about the fact that we have made some modifications to our congregation-based organizing model, which has been focused primarily on congregations. We are organizing right now in housing encampments in Richmond. We have one organizer, Peyton Silkett, who is doing some incredible work in 2 housing encampments, Ryden Roads and Crosswalk in Richmond. And we are making good progress. We are so excited about the fact that God has been using us to bring about change in our community, and we're excited about the leaders that we have evolved. So, having said that, I want to pause for a minute so that we might listen together to a song that has been played by a songwriter whose name is Taylor Fagans. He wrote the song in order to honor the memory of George Floyd. And that song, which he wrote and which I want to invite you to listen, his words make direct connection to the values behind our work. Reducing violence and transforming justice systems. Please listen. It will touch your hearts.
Ahmaud Arbery, you went for a run, 'cause you probably felt free. Ahmaud Arbery, your run had an end that nobody could see. Little black boys don't run outside or play with water guns at night. They run away from red and white, blue light. Little black boys don't go to stores or use their pockets anymore. Can someone tell them what they're living for? They want more. Oh, Breonna Taylor, peaceful and pure. Oh, Breonna Taylor, your peace was ended by police burglars. Oh, little black girls don't close their eyes or walk the streets alone at night. They turn their cameras on when they see white. And little black girls don't open doors or stand near windows anymore. Can someone tell them what they're living for? They need more. They need more. We need more. We need more. Little black boys and girls are scared. Their parents feel so unprepared. The world sees black no matter what you wear. So little black boys and girls don't cry. We'll fight to find an alibi so you can go outside and never die. We will try. We will try. We will try. We will try. We will try to run outside. Try to close our eyes. Try to walk the streets and never die. We will try to open doors. Try to go to stores. We'll try to find the light we're living for. We need more. We need more. We need
So, having listened to Taylor Fagan's beautiful song, I want to ask you for your support. Consistent with the message of that song about the importance of giving more, we are asking you to help us because we do need more. We need more equity in our world. We need more justice in our world. We need more kindness in our world. We need more compassion in our world. Faith in Action East Bay works to provide more across and access to affordable housing and more protections from unfair housing disenfranchisement. Faith in Action East Bay works to establish more safety in our communities. Faith in Action East Bay fights for more dignity for every human being, documented or undocumented. Faith in Action East Bay fights for the rights of people who are incarcerated in jails. Faith in Action East Bay works to establish a community in which all experience prosperity and harmony. So that we can do more, I invite you at this time to consider a gift of support. With your donation, we can do more, and we will do more. You will find the donation link in the chat box, and you can connect to our donation website from your phone. Thank you for listening to my sharing. Thank you for being partners with us in creating a more just world. Thank you for helping us to move the world as it is so that we can create a vision of a world that it ought to be. We are informed by a prophetic vision that calls us to be witnesses to what is possible, a world in which all human beings can share together in the common resources and share their lives together with one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings, for your indefatigable work. That's a big word I just learned that I can't say, but it means that you never tire. You just keep going on. And thank you also for creating that sacred space with Taylor Fagan's song. It just took me, and maybe it took the rest of you, into the sacredness of the work that we're doing, because we're really saving lives. We're really dedicated to making a change so that our grandchildren and our children can live in a better world than we live in. Thank you, Dr. Cummings. And I made another donation. I put another $100 in there. So, that's how powerful your words were. And everyone, put another $100 in, right? Just don't fill up your tank. Half fill up your tank 1 week, and there's $100 right there. We're almost over. Thank you for staying with us. We just want to invite the other co-chair, Pastor Michael Wallace, another dear friend. You saw him in one of the videos on Ceasefire. We have an incredible team. So I just want you to hear this message from our own co-chair, Pastor Michael Wallace. He's going to give us our closing reflection.
Hi, I'm Pastor Michael Wallace, co-chair of Faith in Action East Bay. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating, joining us, and contributing to our Rise Up for Justice. As I am called to do today is to lead us in prayer. In our faith tradition, would you join me in prayer? Would you bow your heads for just a moment as we approach God's throne of grace and mercy? Let's pray. Gracious Father, we thank you again for this blessed opportunity to be able to call on you in our time of need. We thank you for these, your children who have participated, contributed, and sown into this great cause as we rise up for justice. We pray that justice would roll down like a mighty stream. Today we rise up for justice as we raise in the issues that are plaguing our community, as we address the concerns of your people, as we address gun violence, housing supply, racial inequalities, employment opportunities, health disparities, the quality of life in our communities. We pray that you would use us to your glory, that we'll use these resources to rise up for justice, to represent those who can't represent themselves. We pray your continued blessings on this great movement that you have embedded in us. Rise up for justice, for the great cause of the people. Amen.
Amen, and thank you. Thank you all for your time, for your support. And we all can do something. We can all do something. None of us can do everything, but we could all do more. And if you haven't given yet, please go to that link in the chat and just give something. Give as much as you can. Make a sacrificial gift, because we are changing lives, we are saving lives, we are cleaning streets, we are preparing a way through a wilderness. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. I want to thank all of our event sponsors and just remind you and just say to you with our deep, heartfelt thanks that your support is so important and we appreciate your partnership with us. We want to thank everyone who participated in tonight's program. We want to thank our speakers and our leaders, our organizers, the rest of Faith in Action East Bay staff. We want to thank everyone who worked hard, our new tech person, Jake, who worked hard fighting every day for equity and justice for all the people we love. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you are inspired by the work of Faith in Action East Bay. We hope you stay a part of it. Have a great night and bye-bye.